company linked to Michelle Mone, the former lingerie entrepreneur and current Tory peer, has been ordered to repay almost £122 million to the UK government for breaching a contract to supply surgical gowns during the COVID pandemic. Now, without going into the details of the wider PPE scandal, let's just focus on the politics of this, because Michelle Mone, will be known to most listeners probably as a businesswoman who was, very media savvy in the early to mid 2000s, really built up her public profile, probably far out of proportion to the size of her company. But then in 2015, David Cameron handed her a peerage. And even at the time, that kind of did raise a few eyebrows.
Of all the crazy things that the Tories have done over the last 20 years, that's got to be in the top 5, and the bar's really high on that one. I mean, what possessed them? Everybody in Scotland, even in the Scottish Tory party, I'm led to believe, were warning David Cameron that this was not a woman to be trusted, that her so-called business achievements were largely a work of fantasy, and that her treatment of workers and her business practices were not necessarily of the highest standard. A good Prime Minister would have taken that on board, but I think he saw the nice headlines. He gets to promote a sort of what he thinks is a sort of go-getting, woman into the Lords. It made him look young and fresh, and it's left him looking like a bit of an idiot.
There was also around at the time suggestions that she was rewarded for her part in the referendum campaign, which I remember thinking incredible, because I mean, who was paying attention to what Michelle Mone thought on the State of the Union in 2014?
Yeah. I mean, it does seem unlikely. I don't know. I mean, as far as a business goes, Ultimo was a big business. It was a successful lingerie business.
Was it really?
I think it was quite successful.
I don't know, man.
It still had a high profile.
It was high profile for sure.
It was certainly high profile.
Yeah, certainly. The choice of models was certainly always very newsworthy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, the record cover there.
She knew how to promote. She knew how to self-promote.
Yeah.
I mean, Cameron, you look at someone like Karen Brady, who's been given a peerage, who's done a great job. So you can see there's obviously a desire to get more younger women, more sort of working class women into the Lords. That's presumably his motivation. He's obviously ignored warnings. It now looks like a bad decision, but at the time, you can see why he did it.
What about now, though? I mean, the SNP today, just let me find the quote, because Pete Wishart, the veteran SNP MP, he says that we should now, Michelle Mone should lose her peerage. Now, I should say that is not straightforward. It would actually require an act of Parliament. But without going into that, Pete Wishart makes the point that as a peer, Michelle Mone, in theory, would be entitled to claim very, very generous expenses on, the public's behalf for the rest of her, natural life. Now, Michelle Mone, I think, has said that she's currently on a leave of absence from the House of Lords, but as I understand it, there's absolutely nothing to stop her coming back to the Lords, continuing to vote on legislation, blah, 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 blah. Or what the SNP is saying, is that a fair call? Is it?
I mean, let's forget the chewiness of how the nuts and bolts of how you make it happen. It absolutely should happen. She should be stripped of her title of Baroness More of Mayfair. I mean, I don't know what Mayfair's got to do with it. But she should obviously be stripped of that title. She's ripped the taxpayer off, as far as we can tell, allegedly, to the tune of £120 million. Now, most people who did that would be languishing in a cell. And what we find here is she's still a peer of them. She can turn up tomorrow at the Lord if she wants and vote on legislation, on all sorts of things, on taxation, on how we are governed. What it highlights to me perfectly is how the House of Lords itself is an anachronism that should have been abolished around about the same time as the end of the First World War. It serves no useful purpose. We should have a revising chamber at Westminster. It should be a revising chamber full of the brightest and best talents the country has to offer. Not every passing Tory who happens to be enough of a shyster to get in.
Labour for years said they were going to create a committee of the regions and nations, was it? And then
a Gordon Brown idea, that
seems to have disappeared. I mean, notable that Pete Wishart is the one who pops up. I've no his former party colleague, Joanna Cherry, has named Pete Wishart as one of the 2 SNP MPs who were desperate to get a seat in the Lords and for the SNP to overturn its ban on accepting peerages. So maybe there's a slight hint of jealousy there from Peter. But no, I agree. It's going to be impossible to strip her of this peerage. They're not going to change the law just to deal with this one. I'm sure she will be made well aware you're not welcome back. So she doesn't claim any money. The only way you get paid for the Lords is by attending.
Yeah, by turning up. Yeah.
So she doesn't get any money just for. But she gets.
That's right. A lot of them turn up, sign in, then head off to their favourite club for the day and get their 300 quid.
Maybe a spot of lunch, before they head off. Yeah. But you're right. It's like 300 odd quid a day just by turning up. Yeah.
It's not. I mean, it's nice work if you get it, but then they work hard. You like George Fuchs.
Not as good as our expenses.
Well, once upon a time.
Yeah.